And you are taking a live look right now. This is at the Landing Square Apartments in Southwest Atlanta, specifically on the 3300 block of Greenbrier Parkway, right by Greenbrier Mall. A lot of you might be familiar with that area. This is the scene right now of an ongoing investigation. Now, we have heard reports of a hostage situation right out at this apartment complex. Atlanta police are on scene at this time. We have since learned that this appears to be a domestic dispute between a man in his 20s and a woman in her 30s. Now, police tell us that the man is possibly armed and holding the woman inside an apartment against her will. Police say the man who is named the suspect at this time, although we haven't gotten information or details about his identity, is believed to be from Baton Rouge in Louisiana and has an extensive criminal record. Police also say that the two have been dating for less than a year. Right now, we are following an active hostage situation. Atlanta police, SWAT is on scene right now. We've been here all morning bringing you the latest details on this, and we do have, as you can see, a crew at the scene following this situation and giving you the latest details on what we learned. But this is an evolving investigation. This is a very active scene right now. Again, if you're just joining us, a hostage situation is underway at an apartment complex along Greenbrier Parkway near Greenbrier Mall. If that puts the location a little more specifically for you, I'm going to bring up this map right here. This will kind of show you just the surrounding areas and where in the community this is specifically. So you can see this is at the Landing Square Apartments, this is where Atlanta police are. This is where SWAT remains on scene following an active hostage situation. And for those of you that are just joining us, I saw a few more people hop on this live stream. We are following an active hostage situation in Southwest Atlanta. This is at the Landing Square Apartments. It's a gated community along Greenbrier Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. It's right next to the Greenbrier Mall. You might be most familiar with that area. Now, right now we are following this active investigation. Atlanta police are on scene. We've received reports that SWAT has responded to this location. The details that we just received into the newsroom earlier this morning, bringing those to you. Atlanta police say this appeared to have started as a domestic dispute between a man in his 20s and a woman in her 30s. Now, they say that the man is possibly armed and holding the woman inside an apartment against her will. We do not know the identity of this man at this time, but we have gotten details that he is from Louisiana and has an extensive criminal record. Police say that the two have been reportedly dating for less than a year. And now we are here today, Wednesday morning, at the scene of a hostage situation just outside of this Landing Square apartment complex in Southwest Atlanta along Greenbrier Parkway. Now, we are following the latest details and updates that we do receive from investigators. We do know at this time Atlanta police remain on scene. As you can see, this is a gated community. That is why our Atlanta News First crews are bringing you this live shot just outside of the apartment complex. But if you just go a little bit more into the apartment complex, you'll see several Atlanta police vehicles, several law enforcement officials responding to this very active hostage situation inside one of these apartments. Now, we do believe at this time a man is possibly armed and holding a woman believed to be in her 30s inside the apartment against her will. We're following the latest information on this. You can stay with us on Atlanta News First or on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. We're putting out the latest details on this situation right there for those of you that are getting ready for work right now and just trying to get through your morning. But we are also going to stay with you live until this is deemed no longer an active investigation. We are going to be following this active hostage situation to the very end. So I'm going to bring that to you here, this live picture right outside Greenbrier Parkway in Southwest Atlanta, where we do believe from receiving reports from Atlanta police that a domestic dispute has now escalated to a hostage situation where police believe at this time a man is possibly armed and holding a woman inside one of these apartments against her will.
Apartments, possibly armed with a gun and holding a woman in her 30s against her will. It's that woman's mom who actually called police, and she told police that the man did have a gun. We will stay on top of this and update you here on air and in the Atlanta News First app when we learn more. All right, it is 7:33 and nearly a week.
Now, I did want to take you into our Atlanta News First newscast that is going on at this time. We are following this situation across all platforms, and you can see a Grady ambulance that just pulled in or is about to pull in. We will work on getting the latest details regarding that ambulance and what it means regarding this situation. Now, we are still following the active hostage situation. Atlanta police are on scene. Now we see a Grady ambulance that appears to be on scene entering this gated community that is now the scene of a hostage situation.
Y'all be safe. Okay. Just joking. Yeah. We need to come in and get the dead bodies. Alright, hold on. Let me see if I can get the key. I know, right? Exactly. Exactly.
And you can see the sun starting to come up. This is a story that we've been bringing you since about 5 o'clock this morning on Atlanta News First and across all of our digital platforms. It's ongoing hostage situation at an apartment complex in Southwest Atlanta. You might recognize it most as the Landing Square Apartments right by Greenbrier Mall. That is the scene of this hostage situation that police tell us began as a domestic dispute between a man in his 20s and a woman in her 30s. Now, they do say the man is believed to be armed and holding the woman inside an apartment against her will. They did tell us that the man is believed to be from Louisiana and has an extensive criminal record. They also added that the two have been dating for less than a year. That is all according to Atlanta police. We're following the details of this investigation, but now we do see that an ambulance has arrived on scene. We don't know at this time whether that is related to this active investigation or the details of this ambulance's presence, but we are checking in on that and following the latest updates that we do receive from investigators at the scene. We have also learned that SWAT responded to this situation that now continues to be an investigation. Atlanta police say a hostage negotiator did arrive on scene. At the latest of what we heard, they have not made contact. However, we are following the latest updates with this situation. Now, we do have, as you can see, our Atlanta News First crew at the scene working to get you these updates, so we will continue to monitor this situation. And for those of you that are just joining us, I saw some people jumping on this live stream. I'm going to look through some of your questions here in a moment, but just to catch you up on the latest of what we know, this is an active hostage situation in Southwest Atlanta. This is what you're looking at is at the Landing Square Apartments along Greenbrier Parkway. You might recognize it most as an apartment complex right by Greenbrier Mall. Now, Atlanta police say this investigation appeared to have began as a domestic dispute between a man in his 20s and a woman in her 30s. Now, they do say they received a 911 call from the woman's mother that had actually alerted police of this situation. Now, they say that the man is possibly armed and holding the woman inside an apartment against her will. Now, we do not know the identity of this man at this time, but police do tell us he's from Louisiana and has an extensive criminal record. They also told us that the two have apparently been dating for about less than a year. SWAT has responded. We've also received reports that a hostage negotiator is on scene. The suspect, the status of where this investigation is remains to be learned at this time. We're monitoring any and all updates and talking with Atlanta police and the investigators that are on scene responding to this situation. But I did get a few questions here in the comments. I'm going to read through those. Terry Hardy asking, why can't we go inside the gate? This is a gated community. Unfortunately, it is also now the scene of an active hostage situation, which is not something to be taken lightly. So we have been asked to remain outside of the gated community at this time by police, by the residents, just because this is a gated community in general. So this is as close as we can get you to this scene. But inside, you can imagine there is a heavy police presence. We talk about SWAT and a hostage negotiator being on scene along with various investigators from Atlanta police. This is right inside of this gated community. That is where this is happening at the Landing Square Apartments. I'm going to see if you guys have any other questions. By the way, we are working to get some information confirmed at this time, including the details and identity of this suspect that police keep mentioning and where exactly this hostage situation is at this time. Now, if you missed the live stream earlier, we did see an ambulance pull in. We're working to learn the details surrounding that, but I'm going to continue to see more of your questions here. A lot of people just, wishing the situation well, hoping that it doesn't. Yep, and I am reading some more of your comments. Deborah saying, I can't believe a hostage situation. I'm sorry, Carol is saying, I can't believe a hostage situation is happening in a gated community. That's right, Carol. So this is at the Landing Square Apartments. This is the scene of a hostage situation along Greenbrier Parkway, where we did receive reports that a man believed to be in his 20s from Louisiana is inside one of these apartments, possibly armed with a gun and holding a woman in her 30s against her will. Now, police say that they have SWAT and a hostage negotiator on scene. We are working to learn the latest details of this active situation. I am getting some more questions here in the comments. Richard asking, if his identity has not been released, how do we know he has an extensive criminal history in Louisiana? Richard, do believe police might know the identity of this individual. They're not releasing that information to us at this time. So regarding the extensive criminal history and the fact that this individual is from Louisiana, I do believe that information Atlanta police do have. They have not released the identity of this person. And that can usually happen in these situations. They do tend to wait until the suspect has been brought in, until they can deem whether this is going to be a continuing threat or not to the community. So we are getting bits and pieces at this time, but we also have a crew on scene that is talking to surrounding residents and really witnesses that possibly did go inside this community and have seen more of what is going on. And I think I just heard a police siren a little bit ago. So we are following any and all updates and talking continuously with these investigators, both from our team on the scene and the staff here at Atlanta News First at the news station, as well as some of these residents that are coming out. So we are working to get all angles of this story. But right now, the main details that we have obtained are the parts about this individual having an extensive criminal record, being from Louisiana, and that this woman who is reportedly being held against her will was involved in some sort of relationship with the man. This is according to police, according to what investigators have been able to gather, and partially according to the mother of this woman who originally placed this 911 call. We are taking you live through this active hostage situation, in Southwest Atlanta, where this has been hours ongoing. Several Atlanta police units are on scene. Now, we have received reports that SWAT has responded and a hostage negotiator has been called in. The latest details, I do know a lot of you are getting ready as of this morning, jumping in and out, so I do want to continue to update you on everything that we know. The latest details on this story. This is at the Greenbrier Parkway. This is in Greenbrier Parkway at the Landing Square Apartments. You might recognize it most as an apartment complex right by Greenbrier Mall. Now, Atlanta police say this began as a domestic dispute between a man in his 20s and a woman in her 30s. Now, they do believe that man is possibly armed and holding the woman inside the apartment against her will. We have received a few details regarding this man, although we are still working to learn his identity. He is from Louisiana, and police say he has an extensive criminal record. They also add that they've learned the man and the woman, have apparently been in a relationship for less than a year. Now what we're looking at, this is right outside of this gated community in Southwest Atlanta, where this hostage situation is now underway. SWAT is on scene. Again, several Atlanta police units remain on scene, and we have been told a hostage negotiator has been called in and is also at the scene, as well as our Atlanta News First crews. This is as close as we can get you to this area. I know that you can't see which apartment it is specifically and the bulk of these vehicles, but for these residents that are entering inside, they are about to see the extent of that, a very active scene and an ongoing investigation. Now we are working to learn. We did see earlier an ambulance pull into this gated community. I'm not sure at this time if that is related to this incident or who the ambulance was called for specifically. We are working to get those details, both at the scene where Atlanta News First field team is, as well as here in the newsroom. So I am going to update you on that as soon as we learn anything, but I'm going to look through some of these comments and feel free, drop your thoughts, where you're watching from, questions that you might have. If I don't know the answer, I will work on getting that confirmed. There are several of us right now that are working on this ongoing hostage situation to get you the latest details, to learn who exactly is involved in this and whether there is an active threat to the community. But right now we have learned that several Atlanta police units are on scene. This remains at this time an ongoing hostage situation. I do believe we did get some questions, a lot of conversation around how a hostage situation can happen in a gated community. It really can happen anywhere. You talk about the simple requirements to have a hostage situation in a scary moment like this, where you're talking about an individual holding another individual against their will with a firearm. That really can happen anywhere. So we are monitoring this situation, and I did touch upon this earlier before, but I just wanted to mention, I know you see a couple of cars coming in and out. We do believe those are some of the residents that live in the apartment complex. It is around that time that people are headed out to start their day or possibly returning home if they have a night shift, but we are not able to get you inside of this gated community at this time, both because there is an active investigation involving a hostage, but also because this is, again, a gated community for residents, so this is as close as we can get you. Now we are working both on the ground and here in the newsroom to get you any and all details regarding this ongoing hostage situation. Right now, the main thing we're working to learn the details, the identity of the suspect and the victim, and where investigators are right now in terms of dealing with a hostage situation. Now, I do believe we just lost our live visual that we were bringing you. I'm going to take you to our website here, where we're also updating you on any and all details that do come into us. We're putting that out there, but just to show you, this is where the Landing Square apartments are. Specifically, this is the area of this hostage situation. Again, along the 3,300 block of Greenbrier Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. That is what you're looking at. You can see the proximity to Greenbrier Mall, where most people might recognize this area as. And you pull out a little bit, this is exactly where this is going down. I'm going to try to see if I can get you a street view. I am still working on getting that live camera back up for you guys. We are working on getting that shot back at this time, but you can see just some of where this is. Clearly an apartment complex. Let me see if I can pull up a street view for you here, but you can see just the details of this area. Now, I don't know which apartment complex at this time where this is specifically happening, but we do know it is inside this apartment complex, and this is the area that several members of law enforcement are. We've heard SWAT is on location, as well as a hostage negotiator. So you talk about several units responding to this area, this gated community that we're looking at right now. But we took you to a live picture, if you were with us for the earlier part of this stream, where the closest we could get was just right outside of this apartment complex. We are still working on getting that live picture back up for you, but if you wanted to monitor and follow along any of the updates that are coming in, both from our crew on the ground and us here at Atlanta News First inside the newsroom. You can follow all of that on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com, or you can download the Atlanta News First app. We will put out any major updates through a push notification that we send directly to your phone. So we'll get that over to you. This is more of a look just outside of this apartment complex, where you can just see some of the gates that are up, and as well as the details. Now, our live stream, if you wanted to follow that along and continue to stay with us, that is also on the article. So any and all information that we put out will be right here. It's a great way to just stay up to date. If this is a story that you are trying to follow and get updates on, let us know. We will make sure to continue to update this particular story right here, as well as those of you with our Atlanta News First app. It is a free app, by the way. It's a great resource. You can tailor it to, if you're just looking for breaking news, if you're looking for other types of news, you can tailor it to your preferences, and we'll send push notifications on major updates surrounding breaking news stories just like these. So we'll continue to monitor this. I am going to try to see if we can get that live shot back up for you guys, but this is where you can get the bulk of the latest information. And I do believe we were able to get another angle for you of this live shot. Thank you for those that braved with us while we worked on getting this back up for you. So you can just see a little earlier when the camera was moving, that ambulance that is stationed at this gated community right now. Now, we are still working to learn the details of who that ambulance is there for, whether this is tied to the hostage situation, who in this hostage situation. We talk about the man who is believed to be the suspect at this time, as well as the woman who police say is being reportedly held against her will inside one of these apartments. This is the scene that we're following at this time. This is where we are in this investigation. We do have our crews on the ground right now, gathering, talking to these investigators, surrounding community residents that might have heard or saw something. So we are working on getting you the latest details. And this is a story we've been following since before the sun even came up. So we are, I do believe, getting closer to learning some of the extent of where investigators are in this situation, and for hopefully what I hope to report to you guys, whether this is an ongoing threat to the community. Hopefully it is not right now, but we do know that this is happening inside a gated community. I do believe our Madeline Montgomery might be on scene. We'll work on getting in contact with her, but this is that live picture that we're bringing you right outside of this gated community in Southwest Atlanta.
Today, a hostage situation is underway in Southwest Atlanta. It's been developing for hours now.
We want to get right out to Atlanta News First reporter Madeline Montgomery live outside of the Landing Square Apartments on Greenbrier Avenue. Madeline, what are you seeing?
Past this gate behind me, police are still working to negotiate with the suspect and the victim in this situation, trying to make sure that the woman involved is safe. Atlanta police tell us that what happened is a woman's mom called them and said that her daughter was being held against her will by her boyfriend of about 9 months. And we're hearing from police that there have been issues in this apartment complex with this couple before. So when Atlanta police arrived on scene, they tell us that they knocked on the door. They could hear some kind of commotion inside of the apartment. And when they knocked on the door, they did not get any response to what was going on inside. And so they've called their SWAT team out, and we had ambulances arrive recently, and they're just out here on standby right now. And it is a gated community, so we were inside for a little bit before moving out while the police establish a perimeter. But it's just a situation where they are still working on making sure they can get everyone out safely, and we are waiting for more recent updates from the police about where they are with this negotiation. But police have told us that this suspect is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and has an extensive criminal record. That suspect is in his 20s, and the woman being held against her will is in her 30s. And of course, we're going to stay right here. We're going to keep streaming on Atlanta News First website so that you can see updates as they're happening. And we will be back on Atlanta News First in 30 minutes to bring you the latest. We're now reporting live in Atlanta. I'm Madeline Montgomery, Atlanta News First.
All right, Madeline, thanks for that update. Now to our continued coverage of the damage left behind from last week.
Wanted to bring you that update for our Atlanta News First, Madeline Montgomery. We're following this situation on all platforms. Now, I did want to just let you know that this is the latest of what we know. I'm going to hop out of the newscast here for a moment, take you back out to this live shot where this is the hostage situation that we're following. This is as close as we could get you guys to this scene. Now, we have since learned from talking with our Madeline Montgomery just now, I brought you into that coverage that police are still working on establishing a perimeter. This is very much an ongoing hostage situation at this time. You saw several of those ambulances arrive, and we were working to learn what those ambulances were there for, who they were there for. We have since learned that those ambulances were called. They are on standby as this situation progresses, and you can see an Atlanta News First an Atlanta police vehicle entering this gated community, one of what I imagine is many, and off into the distance, if you have good eyes or can zoom on your screen that you're watching this on, that is where an ambulance is parked and on standby as police, as investigators, as SWAT continue to respond to this active investigation, this hostage situation along Greenbrier Parkway at the Landing Square Apartments. We are continuing to monitor every detail in this story. Right now, we have learned the latest information is that this is not a new incident. Police have been called to this location before regarding this man and woman and disputes that have taken place at this location. However, right now, we have learned that the man is reportedly, allegedly holding this woman inside one of these apartments against her will. Police believe he may be armed at this time. They are carefully responding to the situation and really trying to handle this as safely as possible, because you talk about the amount of surrounding residents that live in this area. This is a gated community. Right now, a delicacy and quick thinking is going to be what police need to do, and we've been following this situation for several hours now, so we are taking you right along to where police are and following this situation. Now, I did lose my live shot there just a moment, so I'm going to take you back to our Atlanta News First website so that you can get essentially the latest details on what we know regarding this situation while I work to get that camera back. Give me one moment. And for those of you that are just joining us, I'm going to take you through the latest details of this hostage investigation. I'm going to stick with our website right now. We did lose our live picture that we were taking you to. That was outside of the Landing Square Apartments, a gated community along Greenbrier Parkway that you might recognize it most as an apartment complex right along Greenbrier Mall. I can show you a map here that kind of takes you through the details of where this is at specifically. I'm going to zoom out so you can see. Let me change this type. I have you on satellite right now, so that way you can see a little bit about where this is. So this is where the Landing Square Apartments are, and a little close to it is Greenbrier Mall, as you can see right there, just the vicinity of this complex. But it is right now the scene of a hostage situation where several units of Atlanta police are responding. We've learned that SWAT is on scene along with a hostage negotiator. This is a very delicate situation that we are monitoring, and we're following the latest details while giving distance to the investigators who are dealing with this situation right now in a gated community where several other residents are living. And you can imagine from the vehicles that we saw come in and out of the complex that this is really a delicate thing. You're talking about a man reportedly holding a woman against her will. That is according to police inside an apartment with a firearm. Atlanta police say that he allegedly has a firearm. This is a woman who is in her 30s. The man has been identified as in his 20s. Now the two, according to police, have had a relationship for about 9 months, and they have been called to this location before regarding an incident between the two. However, this time we're talking about a hostage situation that is underway. Now, police tell us the man is from Louisiana. He is believed to have an extensive criminal record. Now, that is the latest on what we know regarding this individual who is believed to be the suspect in this situation. We do not know the identity of this person at this time. We're working to learn the details of that and bring those to you right here on Atlanta News First. Again, the latest on what we know, SWAT is on scene, Atlanta police are on scene. We do know that there's a hostage negotiator as well. So we are following all angles of this story. Our Atlanta News First crew remains on the ground and will bring you that live coverage on Atlanta News First. We're taking you through our newscast up until the 10 o'clock hour, and then updating you as well on our website and our Atlanta News First app. So any and all details, the best way to stay up to date with this story is going to be through the app. We'll send any major updates directly to your phone in the form of a push notification so you don't miss a thing.